what exactly is No More Names?
So what No More Names is kind of like a grassroots effort to, one, spark discussion amongst young people, and particularly we've run events at Ivy League schools so far, and to just kind of leverage the privilege, like I said, as a weapon to help grant access to voices. So like one person we worked a lot with is Emma Garner. So she's the daughter of Eric Garner.
Okay.
I've gotten the privilege to kind of get to know her, and basically what we did was when the court case for Officer Pantaleo was coming up, in the lead up to that, we had a bunch of events with her at different campuses. Where she came to Harvard, she spoke there. She came to Columbia, she spoke there. About about her, and for her, it's just like part of it is like a therapy for her, right? Just like talking about this horrible thing that happened to her, and like a lot of things like you don't really think about, right? Like for example, on Twitter, people share all these videos of these incidents, right? And it's like you don't really think about the fact that like if you lost your dad and your dad was choked to death on camera, you wouldn't want to, every time you go on Twitter, you're seeing a video of your dad.
No.
And that's like something people don't really think about a lot of times, but that's something she vocalized, right? And that's being able to give her that, help give her a platform in some of these spaces that might not have otherwise given her a platform, and just let her say her piece. And that's some of the work we've done. So just like connecting with people who are on the ground and dealing with these different issues, bringing into school campuses, and building, kind of trying to build energy and movement around these issues amongst young people on these campuses. And I think as a generation, in particular, we grew up in kind of the Black Lives Matter era.
Yes.
Where like a lot of this stuff was like caught on camera. A lot of this stuff was like immediately shareable on Twitter. So like we're seeing this stuff constantly. And we want to do something, and I feel like a lot of times we don't know what. So like trying to provide that, for young people of color. So like one thing that was particularly, two moments that were particularly like important for me in doing this. So one was, I think both of them happened at Princeton campus. So one was we had Vic Mensa's organization, Save Money, Save Life, come to Princeton's campus. Vic Mensa performed, a lot of energy around that, but his organization came to campus and they gave a talk on a program called Street Medics that they run.
Okay.
Which basically in Chicago there's a lot of street violence, and what most people don't know, if you get shot, like there's a large chance that you can bleed out before the paramedics arrive. So what they do is and it's terrible to that this is something that needs to happen, but they train these young kids to be like first responders and help stop the bleeding, so that when paramedics arrive they can have a chance to save people's lives.
Wow.
So we had that program, and they gave the presentation, walked students on campus through that program. And then, what ended up happening was, this summer I heard back from, the program director, Londi Kisable, and she's like, yeah, we ended up getting an intern to the event because, like, the students didn't know we were doing this work. But once they found out, they were like, there's one student who was particularly moved by the work they were doing and wanted to help out, and she ended up interning with them. So like being able to connect students with like, I don't really know what to do with all this energy, to like, these are organizations that are doing the stuff, and like we're bringing them to your campus, like connect, and like hopefully we can like find ways for you to help them out and to help that work get done.
Okay. And you plan on bringing this to different schools across the country?
Yeah, so that's what we're working on. It's whenever you have stuff like this, it's a challenge. So it's just like day by day, it's a process, and trusting the process and working on that. But I feel like different moments have been validating. So like for example, we were talking about like youth activism at Princeton with a program called BOLD. So it's like these high school students who are marked as leaders, and this one little girl, she was talking about how she's frustrated within her school community because she doesn't feel like people are acting on these causes the way they should be. And we spoke, and I was just telling her, and we were just basically talking about how like you're never too young to have a voice and to get stuff done. And like age is honestly just an illusion made up by like grown-ups. So like
yeah, I agree.
I like you can be 15 and you can organize a protest. You can be 15, you can change stuff in your school. You can be 15 if you want to get something. Like don't let your age be a detriment to what you want to accomplish, especially like now in the age of the internet where like there's all this information you can get access to. Like so that's why I was telling her, and at the end of the session she was just like like thank you for that. Like, you really made me feel like I could make a difference. And I was like, that really hit me as it's like, you know, I'm just out here talking, you know, doing all this stuff, but that was like, you know, like, there's something here, and like, you know, we gotta keep going forward with this.
That's awesome.